Hey everybody, great to have the opportunity today to spend a couple minutes talking a little bit here with a good friend and person that we've worked together many times over the year, Todd Wage with Lannon Stone Realty. Todd, can you introduce yourself a little bit?
Hey guys, in case if you haven't heard, I've been around for 26 years. I'm kind of the old guy on the block, but I enjoy working with Mark. It's always a pleasure. And I enjoy the stadium tours as well. Thank you
So,
for that.
Todd, I think with what a lot of people are seeing all kinds of things in the headlines and all kinds of information about real estate in today's market, what are you seeing for buyers and sellers in today's market?
Let's start with the easy one, sellers. Yeah, we'll get you gone today. So if you're considering selling and you're like, we're going to wait till spring, why not do it now and get a record price for your house? My only question is, do you have somewhere to move to? Because you're going to need to know that like now. Buying side, a little bit more challenging. What am I seeing? Even today, I was telling you earlier that I was out showing multi units and first day on market, already 7 offers and 4 more coming in. So if you're just entering the market as a buyer, you've got to be ready to go. And first and foremost, get a hold of Mark, get a pre-approval. Otherwise, we're not going shopping. I've had people that are like, I saw this house online and it looks really good. Can we go look at it? And I'm like, sure. Are you pre-approved? We're going to get that later. Okay. What do you think of that, Mark?
Yeah, we hear it often from people where, yeah, that's like putting, what do we say, putting the cart in front of the horse is what you don't want to do, especially in today's market. It is a bad idea. And I think, weren't you were also in our earlier conversation mentioning when you do have them ready to show property, like because of the demand, you have some suggestions there. Are you sometimes even pre-writing the offer before even going and showing some of the houses?
Yeah, I'm not going to share all my secrets, but I will tell you that I do. I knew they were interested in this particular multi unit. So, what I'll do is I'll jump into zip forms and I'll have the whole offer ready to go. All
Wow.
I, all I need is the loan terms, which is from you, and the purchase price. And click, send it for electronic signatures, and we're off to the races. Assuming that they're pre approved. Otherwise, I always say, do you go to the grocery store and load up the conveyor belt? When they used to have people who checked you out, now you'd be loading yourself up and then check your pockets and go, oh, I don't have any money with me. It's the same with the house, but you better have a pre approval because that's the cash in hand. But no, as far as tips, for me, it's been really good because being around so long, I know most of the agents on the other side because there's buyer side and there's listing side. It just so happened to be I knew the listing agent on the one I showed today, and there she was. Gave her a big old hug. So we're hoping that gets us to the finish line. But price and terms are important. You know this.
Yeah.
Some sellers are conscious of just price. Sometimes terms are more important than price, and some people forget about that. You've got to feel that out and ask the other agent, hey, what are the sticking points? How do we land this thing? They can't tell you what offer they're going to accept, but they can lead you down the path a little bit.
Yeah, and I actually earlier today had a listing agent I was on the phone with, and that was so like what you just said is so true because that's exactly with this agent and the offer she was deciding to pick possibly our client's offer versus a few others, and it was more about the terms of it and how solid the buyer seemed, which I was able to within their privacy give some reassurance on that, which I know helps. With on the flip side now, let's talk about the people that are prepping to sell a house and whether the end goal is to just sell it or maybe they want to sell and then buy a different house, just like what you were saying at the beginning. What are your recommendations there?
Now, let's take, for instance, a listing. My first question when I go through, I do a two-step. First, I'll go into the property, take a look at it, and give them tips on what they should or shouldn't do to the house. Maybe a 20-minute walk through, meet and greet. Now, granted, most of my contacts are warm leads because I've sold their parents a house, I've sold them a house. I'm going 3 generations deep now. Give them those tips. Now, after I've seen the property, I'm going back to the computer and I'm really looking at those comps instead of just a shotgun approach. Now we can compare it to apples and come up with those comps. It's a delicate act to coordinate the sale and the purchase because, okay, we get your house sold. How do we know that they're going to be able to land one on the buying side? Fortunately, I've been very good at that, coordinating the purchase and the sale all at once. I did it myself, sold my house, bought another house. So I guess the proof's in the pudding.
And I think that's a key piece that I mean, we've classified the individuals that if maybe they bought a house for the first time over the last 5 to 7 years, it's just a way different dynamic when you are just buying something versus you have something to sell and buy, plus the dynamics of today's market. It's just a lot more moving parts. It does really take an expert like yourself to make that all be coordinated. On the lending side, one of the things we're always doing for those types of clients that are, I don't know if we call them transitional buyers, sellers, we're strategizing if they might be eligible for any kind of bridging programs or
Yes.
specialty financing options for helping you with helping them make that a lot smoother and easier.
And that's the key to a lender who has those programs, not
Yeah.
just the corner mom and pop shop. You guys have got an abundance of programs. You've done meetups with brokers, title companies, all these companies. And I'm like, this is like a 7-day seminar if you went over every program that you guys had access to.
Yeah.
I love that. I love having the options. Some of the misconceptions out there with buyers and sellers, they think that realtors only do one side. Oh, you're my agent to sell my house. Yeah, we do both. Or they're confused with this whole commission debacle, which I'm not going to get into. But I had a guy call me yesterday and ask me what I would charge him as a buyer. And I said, nothing because it comes from the other side. He said, the last agent charged me 10 grand. How did that happen?
Yeah.
Oops. And I'm not going to mention any companies.
And I think too, for the sake of complexity, and I know that can be sliced and diced all different ways. I always definitely commend a well-seasoned agent like yourself, because I think some of the clients that we're serving, you do such a great job that it looks like it's easy, but yet behind the
It's so
scenes,
easy.
there's a lot of craft and skill that you're doing to make that be an easier process for the buyer
Absolutely.
or seller. And there's so many behind the scenes moving parts that happens. Yeah.
Absolutely. Coming back to the listing side, you would be surprised at what sellers think that they should do prior to putting it on the market. And I'm like, why are you wasting your at the price point where they're at to sell it? You're throwing money in the wind. No, let's get it sold. See ya. Yeah, definitely set the meet and greet, the 1-2, and find out what's real and what's not. There's a lot of armchair advice because everybody has an uncle who bought a house or sold a house 15, 20 years ago, maybe in the 70s. Things have changed a little bit since then.
Yeah.
So bringing them up to speed on what's expected and what's common versus what's old.
Yeah, that is so true. What was even typical 6 months ago or a year ago is a different dynamic today, just with the ever changing movement of the real estate market in our area. Yeah, those are great tips. And obviously, we will recommend for anyone that's listening to this or watching this to connect with either of us here. We'll have the information in the post somewhere. And definitely either call or direct message either myself or Todd. And thank you all for watching this. And have a
Absolutely.
great
Happy.
day.
Thanks, Mark.
All right. Take care, everybody.